Quitting an endurance event like a Grand Randonnée is like growing a black hole in your heart. And that black hole stays with you long after the event has been completed. And every time you think about the event, that black hole just keeps on growing. Luckily, there are many protective bands that can help you protect your heart from developing one of those black holes. And when you're out there toiling along on your own in the cold and the dark, those protective bands can bond and weld together to protect you from that dark space, which is the urge to quit. But be aware that each of these protective bands has a weak spot. And if all the protective bands are aligned so that the weak spots all overlap, unfortunately, there's a very great chance that the black hole of quitting is going to be victorious. In this video, I'm going to describe each of these 4 bands and how you can bolster these bands so that you can contain that urge to quit. Everybody have a safe ride. The first band of protection contains 2 elements. And the first of these 2 elements is adequate sleep. When you're well rested, your mind can overcome almost any adversity. Unfortunately, randonneering is a discipline that thrives on sleep deprivation. Sleep deprivation is intrinsic to randonneering, and so there's a great chance that you're going to make lots of decisions in a sleep-deprived state. And some of those poor decisions that you make may lead to you quitting. That's why in a Grand Randonnée, it's absolutely essential that you need to try to save as much time as you possibly can, either during the ride or at each of your checkpoints, so that you can have an adequate quantity of sleep and quality of sleep when you have the opportunity to sleep. Randonneering is supposed to be about having lots of fun, but if you're sleep deprived, you are unlikely to have any fun, and you are more likely to be worried about not making the checkpoint or about having to quit in the middle of a randonnée. So my best advice is to ride as quickly as possible during each of your ride segments. And when you get to the checkpoints, try to keep those as brief and as efficient as possible, and save as much time as you can so that when you have the opportunity to sleep, you can sleep effectively and get up refreshed so that you can ride well the next day. The second element in that first band of protection refers to support. And support can be in the form of other riders on the road that you ride with, or people alongside the road. Now, it's very seldom that people will have the urge to quit when they're in the company of others, or when they have support from other people, either at checkpoints or on the road. Try to avoid that feeling of isolation by being in contact with your support people. FaceTime them, send them a text, send them a message, send them an email, do something to get in contact with somebody so that you can get the support that you need to be able to get through that difficult time. And sometimes you just need to get through that short, difficult period and rest, sleep, and you'll be much more effective, and you might still be able to complete the ride after that. The second band refers to the technical aspects related to randonneering. Try to get the technical aspects right the first time. Look at your bike. Make sure that your bike is in the best condition you possibly can get it into. Make sure that you have a new set of tires and tubes, that you have a new chain. Make sure that the cables of your gears and your brakes are new and not frayed. That your brake blocks are not worn, that your disc brakes are working effectively. Make sure that you prepare adequately to avoid these technical issues on the road. Equally important is to make sure that all your electronics are fully charged. Make sure that your GPS unit, your lighting systems, your phone, that everything is adequately charged at the start of each of your segments of your ride. Make sure that you take a plug to recharge if you are able to get to an electrical socket, that you have the necessary cables, and that you have the necessary power banks to be able to recharge your equipment. There's nothing worse than having your electronic equipment fail during a Grand Randonnée, that your lights go dead, or that your GPS unit goes dead, and that you're not able to use your phone at a time of crisis. In the third band, make sure that you are adequately prepared to overcome all obstacles that you encounter during your Grand Randonnée. You must be prepared to encounter a variety of environmental obstacles, such as intense heat, extreme cold, strong winds, dense fog, heavy rain. I'm currently sitting in a little blue cab on the side of the road. We're supposed to be doing a 300k ride, but yeah, I've been caught in this enormous storm, and it's still rocking. This whole little cab is rocking. It's a cab, I think, from one of these old farm implements, and there's all these cars that are all stuck in the side of the road as well, because there's zero visibility, and the hail is just crazy. Well, it's just been a few minutes, and I'm going to try and see if I can get out of there. Well, it looks like most of it has passed. And little blue cab, you've been my savior. You have to be aware that these can all occur during your Grand Randonnée. Most of these Grand Randonnées run over at least 4 days, and the weather can change quite quickly in that time. And the terrain can also be very challenging. You may have extremely steep ascents, really fast winding descents. You may have irregular road surfaces and large potholes. Make sure that you have the right equipment to withstand these environmental obstacles, and that your bike is robust and is able to withstand all the challenges of changing road surfaces. It's going to be a close one. The next checkpoint is 20 kilometers away, and we have exactly an hour and 5 minutes to get there. So we've got to do our 20 k's an hour average to make sure we make the checkpoint, or else, I don't know, we might not be an official finisher. Yep, so the time that we've lost yesterday has really come back to haunt us, and we have 25 minutes and 3 kilometers between us and the checkpoint, and the only thing between us and the checkpoint is this 11% gradient of a hill. Oh my god, so close and yet just too far. Anyway, hope we make this finish.
12:58. Cannot believe it. We have 40 minutes to spare. Incredible. I am exhausted chasing the time down. I really am. Well, we have to chase the next one and the next one for the day. So it's going to be a tough day, basically.
The final band of protection also contains 2 elements. And the first element is careful planning of how you are going to tackle your Grand Randonnée. Make sure that you have planned out in advance how long your ride segments are going to be, and where you think you are most likely going to be able to find a place to sleep. The second, plan how you're going to approach each of your checkpoints to make sure that you don't lose time unnecessarily. Make sure that you park your bike in a location that you can find it again easily. And next, get your card signed as quickly as possible. Try to avoid wasting time by looking for food, looking for water, looking for a place to pee and to poop. And if you have to do all of these at a checkpoint, make sure that you do these as time efficiently as possible so that you don't lose time unnecessarily. If you're going to meet your supporters at checkpoints along a Grand Randonnée, make sure that you've communicated very clearly at which checkpoints you're going to see them, so that you don't spend time looking for them, and more crucially, make sure that you get the equipment and food supplies that you need, because you don't want to get to the checkpoint, not find them, and then have to leave without getting the stuff that you absolutely need. The second element of the fourth band refers to preparation. Try to get as much information about the environmental conditions that you will encounter, as well as the terrain that you'll have to ride on in the Grand Randonnée that you are preparing for. And if you know that you're going to have challenging conditions, prepare adequately by training in the rain, train in the wind, train in the cold, train in the extreme heat. If you know that it's going to be mountainous, make sure that you ride as many hills as possible so that you can see how your body and your equipment holds out under these trying conditions. One thing for certain is that you don't want to be on your own, sleep deprived, riding up a 14% grade hill at night in the rain and cold on a bike that is not adequate, with the chain creaking and the BB creaking, having just had a flat, when you have absolutely no experience and physical ability to climb hills. That combination of weakness in each of your 4 bands of protection, when aligned in that specific manner, are going to lead to a very high likelihood that you are going to quit your Grand Randonnée. This bridge goes over the Mississippi River, so we are crossing it yet again, and now we're going to try and find our way around the city and find the checkpoint for the night. It's been quite a day. It's been a crazy day, and I'll tell you about it soon. I would suggest remember these 4 bands of protection from the simple acronym STOP, and make sure that you stop the urge to quit when you're in the middle of a Grand Randonnée. I suspect that most of you randonniers would have completed your Grand Randonnée in preparation for next year's Paris-Brest Paris 2023 event. I wish you all the very best in your preparations for next year.
You did it! Yeah!
And Jermaine and I hope to be able to meet many of you in person in Paris in 2023.
I feel like we're in some kind of ceremony.
Oh yes, that's awesome.
Until the next time we meet, ride safe.